Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the WheatyLIVE Hotel. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on Kaurna land and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm really excited to be here tonight and to ask you the question, what's your story? My name's Adam Page. Give me a whoop if you've seen me do my thing before. Okay, give me a woo if you haven't. Ooh. We maybe have about a 60-40 split here. This is cool. This is great. So for those of you that have seen me, you'll be largely disappointed. And for those that haven't, you'll just be disappointed. No. I wanted to do something different in this show. And because that's what Fringe is all about, right? It's about sort of trying to push your own boundaries as an artist. And over the last year, because of COVID, basically decimating live music around the world, I was spending a lot more time composing. And I'm lucky enough to be working a lot with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra at the moment, and writing some pretty epic scores for the ASO. And the way in which I create the music for these compositions is a little bit different. I don't start at bar 1 and finish at bar 400 or whatever it is. I think about the story first, and I'll sit on that story and I'll write notes about the story, and I'll just as easy as possible as I can before I even write a note. And I thought that'd be a really nice way for me to build improvisations on this stage with someone else's story. So last night was a great success for me. It was a wonderful first show. There was about 6 or 7 stories that were shared with me, and look, it was just a beautiful experience. So I want to play some music. I want to hear something from one of you. Basically, I'll invite someone up to just stand on this microphone and just tell me something. It could be a happy story, it can be a sad story, it can be a memory from childhood, it can be one of the stories from last night was a woman grew up in Alice Springs, and she had this memory of lying with her back on her back in the pool and looking up at the eagles soaring around her with the McDonald Ranges, and so that sort of landscape memories, etc., etc. So is there anyone out there that would like to kick off, and then I'll try and make some music inspired by this story, this memory? Anybody? Somebody? It's going to be a very boring show if... yeah, look, it just takes one person. Yeah, go on. Okay, come on up. What's your name?
Siobhan. How you going? Before you go on, I just need to fix this.
I thought you were going to tape my mouth.
Okay, now tell me the story. That's really funny, Siobhan. Sorry.
Is this thing on?
Cavitate fixes anything. Okay, right. So, Siobhan, tell me your story.
Okay. In this?
Yeah,
Bit
sorry,
long?
I'll just make it.
Sorry.
Marty, I said, yeah, there it is. Go.
Okay. It is a story about a day of school that I wanted off. And I got told that if I joined the AFL team, I could have a day off school. I was smaller than I am now, so I was pretty small, as you can tell. And I'm from Queensland, so not much AFL is played up in Queensland, so none of us knew how to play. And we got told we're going to verse this team from Gladstone. If there's any Queenslanders here, they know that Gladstone is a very tough place. I don't know what's in the water there, but they are strong women. And the next 60 minutes, I don't know, it was a blur, was basically me watching all of my friends get really, really destroyed on an AFL field. And I remember at one point I marked the ball and I was really proud of myself, and I said, like, yep, great. Claire, this one's coming to you. And I was like, come on, Siobhan, kick it as hard as you can. And I booted it, and it just hit the girl in front of me right in the face. And she got a blood nose, and then I became the target for the other team. It was a very bad time. And I remember at one point just watching my friend grab onto someone, and she just got dragged the whole length of the field. The girl didn't even notice she was on her. And we lost 165 nil. So, so there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Siobhan, this is going to be fun.
Oh, mate.
I'd like to invite you all as well to try and let the music in as you're hearing these stories as well. You never know, it might sound exactly the same as what I create, or not. All right, here we go. What was the name of your team? All right, okay. The no name. This is excellent. All right, this is going to have two parts. We'll have a exciting kind of part, and then there'll be a part where you're being chased at Maine. All right. Okay. This is going to be great fun. All right.
Now you're celebrating because you didn't score any points. That was probably a little bit happier than what you expected, but I just thought that was such a funny little story, and yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. I'm really loving this because I truly believe that the story is it's the heart of the music, okay? And for me, like I would not have created that piece of music if it weren't for you telling me that story. And I love this. Just sitting up here, just going like, "What's this one going to be about?" Okay, I'll do. But hearing these amazing stories from other people, it just really, it's the best kind of brain food. All right. Someone else. I want to make more music. Yeah, come on up. What's your name, mate?
My name's John.
Hey, John. Come on up to the microphone. Give John a hand. Tell me a story, John.
It's your idea about stories that stimulated me. My wife recently had a knee replacement, and so she was indisposed, so she was knitting. And one of the things she knitted was, you can't see anybody from up here, can you?
No. It's a very lonely place, the stage.
And she knitted this cutest little mouse, which we sent over to our brand new grand niece in London. And so I've been writing these little stories about what this mouse is called, Ms. Matilda Mouse. And Ms. Matilda Mouse goes to, we've sent her off to London. Do you know, it costs $20 to send her to London. And so I've been writing these stories about what Ms. Matilda Mouse might get up to in London, and she's visited the Queen and so on. On Netflix the other night, a movie called Yesterday, which she really liked. And she saw Ed Sheeran, who she really liked him because he looked like a mouse, and she loved that. So what she wanted to do was, Ed Sheeran was in a concert at Wembley Stadium, and she thought, I could be in a concert at Wembley Stadium. And she thought she didn't have any material. So there's an opportunity for you. She didn't have any, so she didn't have any material. And so who could she go on with? Well, Freddie Mercury's dead. Mick Jagger's as good as dead. Poor old Cher can't move her face, and Miss Matilda wondered what disease she'd had that Cher couldn't move her face. And she wondered then, what about the Spice Girls? She could be the fifth Spice, Mousy Spice, but she thought, poor old Posh is, probably too busy washing football Guernseys and things like that. So, what can I do? And then she thought, what songs are there about a mouse? And she thought of Genesis have a song about a mouse. The Mouse in the Morning, I can't remember. Anyone? Genesis? Anyway, what twigged was Genesis. My surname is Collins, so her name is Collins, so Uncle Phil's the man. So Ms. Matilda resolved to write straight away to ask my sister in London for Uncle Phil's phone number, and then she could get a nice roadie to put her on a plinth on the stage, and then when Uncle Phil's doing his stuff, a nice roadie or cameraman would take a picture of her, and they'd go up on the big screens, and everyone would cheer. So that would be Miss Matilda's adventure in London.
Okay. Quite a story. Thank you. I did, and this is all I want to do is. What I think is, I like this idea of Matilda Mouse, and I'm thinking that Matilda Mouse, it might be a knitted mouse, but I think she's alive. Oh, yeah. She's absolutely alive, isn't she? And she's in London, and she's excited, and she's going to be on stage with Phil Collins, and I'm going to try and channel that excitement of Ms. Matilda Mouse. Ms. She was on one of those like things, and then I imagined it being like, you know, the big, the big Ferris wheel. Yeah, yeah, going that fast with a giant mouse on it. Anyways, thank you for the story. Thank you so much, mate. Thank you. Yes. Ah. I'm really having a good time. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Someone else, story, something, please. Yes, what's your name? Terry. What's that, sorry? Terry. Terry. Come up, Terry. Welcome to the stage, Terry.
Thank you.
What's your story, Terry?
Well, I was thinking of this one because I think it'll give you a lot of different range of music.
Okay.
Some quieter, some really loud.
Okay.
Christmas Eve 1974. Where was I? In the middle of Cyclone Tracy, or coming. Came in, coming in the afternoon, and we went home after I'd been at the office party all afternoon, half sozzled, and the wife's saying, "We're going to be all right." "Yeah, should be all right, no worries, no worries." Because we'd had a cyclone about 3 weeks before. Strong wind, lots of rain. So this is going to do the same thing. So it sort of came in and then it got louder and louder, and then you could hear stuff crashing through the air as stuff was flying around. we had I had gone to bed, but I got dragged out of bed and we went down the passageway and we're on the floor with a mattress over the top, and the bedroom fell to bits. A big bit of 4x2 come flying down the passageway like a spear and just over our heads. So we thought, well, we better go into the bathroom. So I went into the bathroom and dragged the mattress in there, put the mattress over the top, and we were there for a while, and then the roof went and we were looking up at the sky, and then the wind started to drop because the eye was coming. And what happens in the middle of the eye stops. There's no wind for about 15, 20 minutes, which is your quiet music.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
And then it starts coming back from the opposite direction as the eye's going past, and it sounded like a train, like a freight train coming in. It got louder and louder and louder and louder. Oh, actually, I forgot to tell you. In the eye, we thought, well, we can't stay here because it's already knocked down. I was on the ground, wasn't on stilts. And ran outside to see what was happening outside. Next doors was gone, so we thought we'll go over the other side. And theirs was still intact at that stage, on the ground. And we were there, and then you could hear the eye coming louder and louder and louder, and then the wind started blowing and blowing harder again, and then theirs started to fall a bit. So we ended up on the floor in the kitchen under the sink, till about, probably started about 11, finished about 5, 6 in the morning, and then it got quieter and quieter as the wind went away. Another quiet period for you. And then we went outside, and think of that song, I can see for miles and miles and miles. Before that, everything in front, there was buildings, there was trees, there was and it was all flattened, far as you could see. Nothing there, flat. So that would sort of take you into a long, dull... End of story. We survived. But if I'm ever anywhere and there's a cyclone warning, I'll be the first one out of town, I tell you that.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. I've got something to work with. This is fantastic. Whoa, hello. Oh, that'll work. Thank you for sharing that, Terry. It's yeah, that must have been a really traumatic time, and yeah, I hope to make it even more traumatic for you now. Maybe no. All right. Okay. Want to find the right sound here for later. Okay. So I'm going to go from when you've come back from the pub, and it's just like, are we cool here? Are we cool? All right. So it's kind of starting as it's about to kind of pick up. I can do that better. I can do that way better. Thank you, Terry. That was one of my favorite things I've ever done. Like, ever. For me, like, musically and just sound-wise. So thank you so much. I'm so glad I got that story. And I saw that the thing I was seeing was the footage from that time as well, the 70s, and so it had that kind of graininess to it as well, because that's my only memory of it is, well, I mean, I wasn't alive, but seeing that footage, the graininess and that dystopian sort of area that was left after. So yeah, far out. Sorry, I don't know how long that was either. That felt like that went forever, but I did not want to leave. Guys still having fun, hey? Oh, those knobs are so fun to twiddle. A really beautiful thing happens. Like, is there any musicians in the room? Yeah. There's a wonderful thing that happens. Hey, when you're on stage, where you just disappear. When you're really into something, you absolutely disappear. And I had no idea where I went just then, but it was a really fun place, but traumatic place. I don't want to discount your experience, but I'm glad it happened. No, I didn't mean it like that. No. You know what I mean, Terry. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, me too, for some reason. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, I need another story. These have been some pretty awesome stories. Hello, what's your name? Maddie. Hello, Maddie. Oh, hello, Maddie. Hi. How are you?
I really can't see anyone. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you really can't.
You can't see anything. Hello, Maddie.
Hi.
What's your story?
My story is a story about a time I got a bit too big for my boots. I just finished school. I just finished year 12. I was 17. I'd done a bit of hiking before, but I was like, I want to do something like that's kind of top shit. Like, I really want to do something really cool. Like, I want to be Bear Grylls. And so I was like, I'm going to disappear into the national park for like a week or so.
Which one?
Oh, so I grew up in Port Lincoln, and I was I'm gonna go disappear in the Lincoln National Park for a week or so. I'm gonna come back having walked around the entire park 8 times. I have so many stories. I'm gonna like catch my own food, live off the land. You know, it's gonna be amazing. I had high hopes. I had a lot of ill-vested faith in myself for no reason. And so...
No, for every reason, because it sounded awesome.
I was
That's
not
a great
prepared.
idea as a 17-year-old.
I was not prepared. I'd done multi-day hikes, but not by myself. Anyway, so I'd kind of mapped out this path, and the first day was the hardest day. And I looked at maps, and there wasn't really a path there, but I understood that it could be walked. And the first day, I had to walk through like 20 k's of sandhills. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Lincoln National Park or if anyone here has, but there's like hardcore sandhills, like the sort of sandhills that they film movies of the Sahara Desert in, like just k's and k's of really big sandhills.
Did you think at that point, like, I'm here for a week, is this a good idea?
Yeah.
This is day one.
I'm like, no, but the day one, you get the hard stuff out the way. And so I was going to walk. The plan was, according to the map that I got from the trusty visitor information centre, I walk 20 k's through sandhills and I get to this hut. And this hut's going to have water, and then it's going to be easy from there on out. And that's my day one. Okay, so Mum drops me off in the national park. Everyone says, take more water than you need. And I'm like, look, you've only got one body. And I'm like, yeah, but I've only got one back. I'm taking like 2 litres. Like, I'll be fine. I'm going to make it to this hut. And also, I'm doing this in January for no reason. And so I'm like 3 hours in, and I sort of realise, fuck, I've not got enough water, and I definitely don't have enough food, and walking through sandhills fucking sucks. And I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I've got the coast on one side, so occasionally you get a bit of reprieve, you get a bit of a sea breeze.
Yeah, but
and
you see water.
You can see the water, but it's
water.
also like nothing you could ever swim in. It's the most treacherous, like rippy water that you would never want to touch, so you'd just die. So I'm walking and I'm walking and walking, and I'm sort of get to the point, and it's like, 17 Ks or so, and I'm like, all right, I should be able to see this hut soon. I should be able to get there. And then I'm looking at my map, and I'm like, all right, I should be where the hut is, and I can't find the hut. And then I'm like, there aren't really any landmarks. It's just sand. And so I walk forward, and I walk back, and I walk forward, and I walk back, and I'm like, the hut is nowhere to be seen. And then I'm sort of looking at my position along the coast, and I realize that I've walked like 10 Ks more than I should have. So I'm like, all right, we got to backtrack. And I'm walking back through the sandhills. And at this point, the sun's getting low, and I'm just like, fuck, if I can't find this hut, I'm going to die. Like, I just sort of realized that. I'm like, didn't really have a backup plan, did I? To walk back to the car is like bit screwed, don't really know where the next point would be. So I'm walking, and logically there's a lot of ways I could have gotten out of it, but when you're in that state where you don't have any water and you're tired and you're just like hating yourself, I was like, this is it. I'm going to die. And I'm going to walk up one more sand hill, and then that's it. And then I'm sitting down and praying, and that's it. And I walked up one more sand hill, and I didn't see the bloody hut. So I just sat down, and I started crying. And I was like, this is it. This is the end. And then, like a sign from God, over the top of the sandhill, I just see the bloody Australian flag flying next to the Crows flag as this convoy of Land Cruisers comes over and four-wheel drives, and they're like blasting AC/DC, and they pull up next to me, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing out here?" I'm like, I'm just hiking. I'm just hiking. And they're like, "No one hikes out here." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm just hiking." And there's like 12 of them, and half of them are cousins and half of them are shagging, and they're mostly the same half, and they've got about 8 teeth between them. And I'm like, do you guys have any water? And they're like, no, but we've got beer. Do you want to jump in? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I jump in with these bogans in the back of their they've got like 3 cars, but I get in one of their 4-wheel drives, and it turns out this is just what they do, like for fun on the weekends. They're like, yeah, we come out here like every weekend, just, tearing it up on the sand hills, when we've never seen this hut before, ever. And so we drove around for ages, and they're like, dude, you made this hut up. It's not real. And we didn't find it. But I did get a day full of 4-wheel driving and beer drinking, and then they dropped me off at the next stop. So, it's not the destination, it's the friends you make along the way.
Totally. Yes. Maddie, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Far out. Okay, so this is gonna be a hopeful thing to begin with. Okay, and then it's not. And then it really is. Okay, so here we go. I think this might be this may be my final composition of the evening as well. I would say to come and see me tomorrow night, but it's sold out as well. I love this new little thing. Hey. Okay, Maddie, let's do this. Where to begin? I think I'm going to begin with the clarinet. Great place to start. So this is you hitting the sand dunes. you see the flags? Thank you so much, everybody. Man, far out. My cup is full. Thank you so much for the stories and for giving me the opportunity to do something different as well. For me, it's a special time of year where you expect something different, I hope, from artists. And if artists aren't delivering something a little bit different, then you know, you should have a little talking to with them. And for me, it's just like, this has just been such an artistically rewarding experience tonight and last night as well, just because, well, firstly, being on stage and performing, because there's a lot of places in the world right now where this would not happen. And so we're so lucky here in South Australia, and I'm so lucky to have an audience like you and to be here with me tonight. So I just want to say a massive thank you. Thanks for coming on the ride. And this was actually streamed on the WHEATY Facebook page, so you can see it again. And tomorrow night's show, if you can't make it, well, obviously it's sold out, yes. That'll be streaming at 6 o'clock. So if you want to see something completely different again and hear some more stories, please join in. But for those of you at home watching me on the internet, thank you. And most of all, thank you all for being such a fantastic audience. Cheers. Thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.